Okay guys, Rochelle here from My Vintage Farm. Welcome back. It has been a while. I have some previous videos I might snip in. If I don't, I will definitely be popping in some footage throughout this just to kind of give you guys a glimpse into things. And then there'll be lots of videos to come and updates. But our baby turned 1 in January. She's doing great. And I just kept thinking like, oh, this is going to be a great time to share. Having the responsibility of caring for a baby, having my own, health crisis with relearning to walk and then like regaining my abilities, and then caring for my grandfather and still being a wife and a mother to my other child, wife to my husband, farmer, all the things, still running our little farm stand. It was a lot to try to document things, especially when there's all the unknowns of like, well, how things are really going to go and all of that. So I'm back, and I'll get you guys caught up on this. We'll take it just for this little chunk of time, and we are rebuilding our entire farm. So unfortunately, we were hit with floods here in California, and our farm was one that was affected. We thought that we had surpassed the damage from the floods. We had moved the animals up onto higher ground out of the pasture, and all of our fences are like laned over because the ground is still incredibly soft, and we've received more rain and tons of wind, and it's really just like wrecked all of our infrastructure that we did have. And then the infrastructure that was kind of just like barely holding on, waiting for us to come and like, tend to it. Well, it's time to tend, because that's just how nature works when things are, the weaker of, I don't know. I don't really know what could have withstood them, like maybe freestanding things and electric fence, but we pretty much lost all of our pasture fences and any security of like keeping large animals in on the property. So like our large livestock, our cows, about a week and a half or 2 weeks after pinning them up into a pen that was on higher ground, they just were not having it. They learned that not only is the ground still soft and they could just push the pins over and push posts out of the ground, but they also learned that they could just hop right over 50-something inch panels. And so on a Thursday, one of our cows got out, and we had seen, okay, she jumped a short panel. And there was one little section where we had this like gate that we blocked off, and it was done with a short section, and thought, okay, well, you know what? She just jumped out because it was a short section. Well, the next day she had gotten out again, and I'm like, okay, so she got out again. And where did she get out now? Well, she had jumped over one of the 50-inch panels, because we had repaired that section that she got out of, so we knew that she didn't get out of there. So as we're trying to figure out like, okay, what we're gonna do, well, the steer was like pushing her off food and everything, because now, they didn't have these like 3 acres pasture to roam on and get away from each other if they wanted to. They're stuck like more in a, like a pen, like a yard, instead of having this freedom. And that didn't go too well. And so she was out again the next morning. So I thought, you know what, no big deal. We're just gonna leave the other 2 pinned up together, and we're gonna pin her up in her own separate pin, and that should like hopefully alleviate whatever discomfort that she's having from being displaced from, she was the alpha and the steer took over as the alpha probably about like 8 months ago. But putting them into a smaller area definitely showed that she was not happy with him being the alpha. And so it was a horrible day. Like, we pinned her up, and then the other two jumped right over the fence. One pushed down the panels, pushed down the posts, and came out that way. Another one came hopping directly over the fence, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Now, mind you, the day before, this other cow that came out, she's a Holstein, and she's unpredictable. So she was like trying to like nudge up. She had full horns, trying to like nudge up to my husband, and not a very playful manner, like chasing him and telling him like, you know, get away. And so, you know, although we did get her back into her pen the first day, like doing that again, we knew it wasn't going to happen. She was just going to get back out again. So we tried to make her own pen, and then they all three were out, and I'm like, great, because I only bought enough panels to build one pen, and well, a pen for one cow, not assuming that I was going to be trying to, you know, I wasn't going to be trying to pin these all up in that space, but it just ended up being that like, okay, they're all trying to get in there because we had already had the pen being built and like the food there to like keep the cow in place, so that way we could just build the pen around her. So we build the pen and they all go in, and mind you, like, this is a one size cow pen, and it's not even like this was supposed to just hold her until I could do some more extension panels on it the next day. And she jumps out immediately, like, just, I mean, I have never seen, like, from here's the fence line and here's her, and she just like jumped straight up and over, and I just was kind of impressed with her height that she could get, and also very frustrated because I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Well, then the steer, which was odd enough, he's trying to go under the fence, and now these are all like full grown, like ready to meet their maker size cows, and some are overgrown because they got to have an extended life while we were going through the transition of this past, like, you know, year. Well, it becomes a free-for-all, and the steer gets out too. And now, like, with all of the fences, like, we're right on a highway, we have fences down everywhere, so there's really no safety from them if they were to get up to the front part of the property to getting on the highway. And so I decided, okay, you know what, like, I called a couple people. I had people here already helping me try to pin them. It was evident that nothing we could do on the property was going to keep them pinned up. Like, they were going to go under fence, they were going to climb over fence, and they were going to knock fences down. So I tried to call transport companies to take them to slaughter or to auction. Either one would have gotten them off the property and would have gotten them either to where they were being slaughtered and we were getting meat back, or they were going to auction to be sold, and there may have been a profit. Now, mind you, when you're paying for transit and everything, you never know what you're going to get or what the market's going to be in a situation like this. You're not really prepared, but you just have to do whatever you can do that's responsible to protect the community from some type of tragedy. Like, an accident would be absolutely devastating. Cows are replaceable, but like, human life is something that you just, you know, it's above and beyond everything else. And as a farmer, you are responsible for your livestock and for the community because you're keeping your livestock in this community. So I already knew that I was going to, you know, be making these phone calls, and the phone call had already been made to have the animals put down on the property if they, you know, if I couldn't get transport here before that. And it's a devastating call to have to make. Like, nobody ever wants to have to put down your livestock because of like natural disasters. Like, I've never seen anything like the flooding that we faced, and I never even imagined that like weeks later it would still be affecting us. But with the fact that all of our ground was ruined and our fence lines were, you know, penetratable, and the livestock just couldn't be held safely. Like, we could be in danger, the community could be in danger, and your livestock too. Like, nobody wants livestock to get hurt either. Like, those animals, like, they're here, you care for them. It doesn't matter what their purpose is. Like, you still care for those animals and you love those animals, and I loved mine very much. As you could tell by the way the story's going, the animals are no longer with us. We did have to have them put down, And it was devastating. It was absolutely devastating. That was just 3 weeks ago. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but you know, when you step into this position of like raising livestock, you have to be ready to make the hard decisions, and that was a decision that I had to make. So moving forward past that, and like your farm doesn't feel the same, you know, it's like we've been hit so hard with a lot of different challenges. And right after we get the farm looking really nice and everything, we had this flood, and it really came in and just it undid everything that we've done. So, you know, fast forward almost 2 weeks later, and my grandfather that I was caring for on hospice took a turn, and he was doing so well, and then he wasn't. All of a sudden he lost the ability to swallow, and with the ability to swallow, lost his ability to drink or eat. And when I took on the position of his medical decision maker and his caregiver, it was something that we didn't take lightly, and we made sure that we did all the appropriate paperwork, and I got all of his wishes while he was still healthy. This was almost 2 years ago. And you know, he didn't want measures to be taken and feeding tubes or anything like that. And so the first set of the decline was on a Friday, and Wednesday morning, early morning, he passed. And I have a loving husband who has been like taking over the chores right now, and I've just got my farm in shambles. Like, there's just so much stuff that needs repair and attention, and I still have a baby, you know, 13 months old, who just needs mama's time and attention. I'm still nursing full time. Nursing is in breastfeeding. And I have a greenhouse that I started planting stuff in, and a farm stand that's been boosted up. We have a soil program that we're working on around here that is just amazing for composting and like building a nice hub for the community to come and get live soils and worms and all sorts of goodies. And sometimes you just feel like the wind gets taken out of your sails and you don't know what to do. I'm honestly dealing with a little bit of depression the last 2 days. I think it's normal after a month like I've had. I mean, we've had a rough year, but this last month has really been trying. And so we're back. You're gonna see us rebuild our entire farm because there's nothing worth keeping. Like, every fence has to come down and be rebuilt because it's already mostly down anyways. And if it's not down, it's not safe to keep an animal in. You know, coops are being rebuilt, like everything, every single thing on this farm is being redone. So if you're trying to see how to build a farm, you guys, on a budget and with, you know, recycled materials, like, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to tune in and watch, because that's what we're doing. It's probably going to take some time before we really start some projects. Right now, my first projects are, I have the building that I brought out here to put my grandpa in so I could care for him here at the farm, because I was caring for him afar and it just wasn't working, so he needed to come here. I've got visitors. She need mama? Huh? Hi! So we're going to be setting up my office in there and transforming that space into a place that's not so sad, and I think that my grandpa would love that. We spent 7 wonderful months with him here, and I think it'll be a great place to bring some life into. So my house plant project will be going in there, as well as my farm office, and it's adjacent to my farm stand and our driveway, so it'll be really nicely located for all the things that we could utilize it for. And then just reclaiming the house, when you have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things like this happen, there are things that you just, you know, boxes that you let set and things that you just are like, you know what, that doesn't necessarily matter. So there's some organizing that needs to be done. My office is going to be turned into a playroom, and yeah, that's it, guys. Like, that's where we're at right now. I'm going to show you guys our soil program. We'll be working on rebuilding all these pins. So if you're someone who's trying to figure out like how could you do this on an extreme budget, I'm going to show you guys my material yard, like as I'm building things and pulling material from there and like telling you guys how I got them. I think it's really important for people to know that you don't have to buy everything brand new, and a can of paint goes a long way. So like, things may not match, but if you paint everything, like, yes, it's a lot of work, and sometimes you may have to clean lumber. You know, you might have to clean lumber. Just means pretty much like take out any nails or screws or hardware that's on it from whatever it was previously used for. But I mean, lumber really can go a long ways and give you a good life, longevity wise. It could be repurposed. So that's it, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this update. It's not the happiest update. I hope that kind of being transparent in these situations that we don't think of. In California, it's so rare for us to receive the water like we have received, or the amount that we received, and let alone like our property was rising with the tides of the levee. It was absolutely devastating to see the damage. We are in a pocket of water right now where there's a lot of rain coming these last few days and these next few days, and there's already a lot of standing water. I'm sure my front pasture is already underwater. I'm trying not to focus on any of those things. The good thing is that the creek is really low. There's a lot of places for water to catch right now. And hopefully we won't get the consistent downpours that caused the issues that we had previously. California needed water. We are in a drought, even in the situation that we're in, but there's only so much water. Like when your groundwater, like your water table is so high for your groundwater, there's only so much your property can take naturally, let alone in a situation like that. So I will be back. It'll be vlog style, and I'm just gonna share with you guys like all the things. There's a video that I posted actually the day that my grandpa had his last, I would say his last good day, because in that video I say that it was a bad day for my grandpa, but that was really the best of the last of his good days. Is that how you say it? Things got worse after that. And so I'm gonna post that video, and it'll tell you guys a lot more with better energy and excitement and happiness about some of the projects. And I was just like so like ready to come back and share everything with you guys, and I still am. I may have a little bit of a somberness to myself, but I'm still very excited to share everything with you guys. And I think it's gonna be better this way, because I hope it encourages others who don't have the finances to do things, to get out there and just try to do some big things. So I'm Rochelle. Thank you guys for watching. God bless. I will see you in the next one.